Day number 2. Just getting here. It's a little after 7 in the morning. Gonna be getting this pile of brush reconnoitered up here today. I'm gonna have to come around here and put the bucket on and pop a couple of these smaller trees off with it. And come over here and get the machine fired up and get it greased while it's warming up. Grease it every day. 2 tubes of grease. Anyway, all things considered, it's coming along pretty good. I'm going to leave a little bit of a privacy buffer along that fence right there. And they kind of, one of them kind of asked me to do that. I'm going to check with them completely and totally today before I actually move over the other side of the road. But we got this probably half acre or so here, half acre to an acre here done yesterday. And today I'm going to jump across I got to get all this pulled out and get it in a couple of these different piles. Probably gonna put one pile right there and then pull this pile back over here. Get it kind of cleaned up and organized a little bit here in the first hour of the day, and then jump across the road, and I got about 8 acres over there that I got to do. So that's going to take me the rest of the day and probably a decent chunk of tomorrow to get all that over there cleaned up. One of the problems is that people not so much people, but one of the problems is in this area is that there's never enough done for fire mitigation. So, never enough done for fire mitigation, never enough done for cleaning up, never enough done. I mean, it's as simple as coming out here with a lawnmower and mowing it, keeping it mowed up and stuff. Turn the climate control off, otherwise you're gonna get an ass box in here. So anyway, that's my plan. Get the machine greased up, and then at some point in time somebody might be coming out to look over the thumb situation. Don't know if it's in the joystick or if it's in the cylinder. Well, what's going on is once the thumb gets down past the halfway point, when you go to run the toggle to retract the thumb, instead of retracting it, it goes full send the opposite direction, and you literally have to push it with the bucket back past the halfway point, and then it retracts. So, all right, I'm gonna go snag up the grease gun real quick and get this thing greased up and get after it. Okay, we are rocking and rolling. This has been, without a doubt, one of the worst overgrown spots I have ever seen in my life doing this fire fuel reduction stuff. The customer came over and I was like, oh my god, and I was like, oh my god too. A lot of folk don't realize what a healthy forest is. What we just cleaned up, that was not in any way, shape, or form a healthy forest. No way, shape, or form. There was nothing at all healthy about it. That's probably one of the more, like I was telling her, I usually get, when I do this kind of work, I will usually get that big of a pile of brush off of doing about 4 or 5 acres. I have never in my life spent 6 hours, 5 hours on an acre and getting a pile of brush that big. I have never. I have never in my life, never in my life got a pile of brush this big off of a little chunk of property like this. Shout out to Chad Gilliardi right here. I was working for him. Got to work with a guy named Bill Fox. We used to call him the Great White Buffalo. That guy knew more about land clearing and running equipment than I think most people. I mean, he forgot more than most people would ever dream of knowing. Yeah, and I was working on a job with him one day, and there's an excavator sitting there. He's like, I don't care what they said, you're not driving a truck today. You're gonna come over here and run this machine for me a little bit. And so I was running it, and it had a brush rake on it. It had a brush rake on it similar to this one. And I was just grabbing and throwing stuff up on piles. He's like, hey, what are you doing? Stacking brush, that's what I'm doing. He goes, well, you're making a big ass mess. Like, oh. He's the one that taught me. You get in underneath the brush with this rake, you pick it up, and you start doing what I'm doing, and it'll shake the dirt out. So you'll get a cleaner brush pile. This is honestly one of them jobs where I sat back and I'll ask myself, what the heck did I get myself into? I did not, for the life of me, expect this much brush. There is not a tree in this pile that's bigger than that. I cannot believe, and you know, as you've seen in the last video, all of that came off of an area from that track steer over to right about there. That 100, maybe 50, 60 foot area, that's where all them trees came from. I about crapped my pants when I seen how big the frickin' brush pile finally got yesterday. When I finally walked around it, I was like, oh my God. There is more brush on this pile in an acre than what I normally get in 5 acres. I mean, easily. This is easily this acre was easily one of the worst overgrown pieces of ground I have worked on in a long time. So we are going to be moving the brush pile. I talked with them earlier, and originally the brush pile wasn't supposed to be that big, and it grew to a huge size. So it's like I just said, hey, you know, one of the customers' OCD and my OCD is kicking in to where it's like, there's no way. I would not in any way, shape, or form want that left on my property. So when you're in this business, it's all about customer satisfaction. It's all about what the customer wants. If you say, hey, I can't, whatever, and you start throwing a fight, you're going to have a disgruntled customer. So, where I'm at with it is I would much rather take the time and make the customer happy than leave with a customer that's disgruntled. Is it harder on me? Yeah, it is. It's going to take me hours to move this brush pile down there with just this machine. But that's neither here nor there. That's nobody's fault. It is my decision to move this brush pile because I want her to be happy with my work. And one thing, if I could give anybody a piece, if I could give any people, guys, whoever, starting off in this industry, a piece of advice, it would be, if you're not happy with the work you're leaving behind, the customer's not going to be happy. If you are happy with the work you're leaving behind and the customer's happy, then things are great. This stuff here as chewed up as I can and kind of get it to where I can just kind of reach in off the road and grab it as I can grab it. Grapple folds about like that. Just kind of lay it out here as best I can. And we'll just start packing this crap right up the road.
Well, about the only other thing I could think to do is I'm going to sit here while you run it for a while and see if it acts up at all for a while. And
well, if we're going to do that, get out of the way, and I'll go down and put the rake on.
okay,
Because like I said, I noticed it did it worse when it was
on the rake. Okay.
And I just thought about that while you were here. I haven't really experienced it since I put the bucket back on. So maybe another person sitting here watching what's going on with geometry out here might be able to catch if it's actually the thumb hanging up on something.
Yeah, we'll do that.
I just don't.
I got a cylinder, but I really don't think it's a cylinder.
No, because if it was a cylinder, it'd be getting progressively worse.
Yeah.
And the fact that I've now been running it since, well, I got on it at 8, and it did it 2 times between 8 and 8:30, and I've been running it non-stop till now, and it hasn't done it again. I mean, granted, I'm not doing the clearing and all the crap I was doing. I'm just picking crap up and taking it down there and throwing it off the side of the road.
Yeah.
But I can sit here with that rake on it and throw this shit back and forth for a while and
Yeah.
see if it does anything.
Yeah, let's do that. That way I can get a little better idea of what's going on.
And maybe we can catch it in the actual act. And it could be one of them things where you got to get it really,
Jarring around.
well, just operating. Because all I've been doing is pick stuff up, go down there, throw it, come back, pick stuff up. Whereas yesterday I was knocking over trees, you know, throwing shit all over the place. Typical, all things malfunctioning. The mechanic just left. We could not get this thing to duplicate what it was doing yesterday and this morning to save our butt. So that's pretty typical. Okay, all the brush is moved from down there to up here. It took a solid 8 hours to do it. I started, it took 7.5 hours, honestly. I started at 7:38, somewhere in there, and it's now 3:30 and I'm going home. So, yep. So tomorrow I get a start on thinning this crap here out, which is not going to be near as bad, nor take near as long. And that'll be it. Set us about a day behind, but oh well, what do you do? What do you do?